Well, hello, universe. It has been a while. It's been too long, frankly. And for that, I apologize. I am, what is my gravelly voice here? That's new and different. But back to the point. I am recommitted to the project in a motivated and urgent, even way. By even, I meant conversational utterance, not tilted fairly one to the other. So 44 seconds into this, I'm already regretting how stumbly bumbly I'm being, because I feel like I've never ever hit record without feeling like I have something of value to say. And I've never felt like I have more valuable information than I have now, because I don't want to waste your time. In fact, maybe for the only time ever in the history of 500 plus recordings, do I think listening to what I have to say in this one is worth your time. Because most of everything I've said up till today has just been laying the groundwork of how fractured my reality got to serve up a need to understand why. And that need became so discombobulated over, say, a decade of exploration that I really had to hit the record stop button and go figure out what the fuck's going on, why it's going on, and if there's anything we can do to repair it. And while that investigation has certainly led to conclusions, they're not all pretty, but there is hope for all of us, and especially for you. If you're listening to this, that means you're curious about the same things I am. How we end up in a society filled with moronic intuitions, leadership, self-governance, even our own approach to our individual lives is disappointing. I know you're disappointed in your life, and I'm disappointed in mine. Well, actually, I'm not. I really am not. And I guess that's ultimately the point I'm going to try to make, is that none of us have to be. It's not that we aren't in some of the most loathsome times to manifest. We are. But you're here because you have the internal fortitude to endure it. This isn't a small gesture of incidental nature. This is fundamental. The strength you have is something you have zero realization of, because nothing in this reality has encouraged you to develop it to a point that you realize how powerful it is. And for that, I don't know that there might not be a dead end that we can't get past, because the cycles of the universe's energy, up and down, are built into the programming. Whether this is a simulation or just a law of nature matters not. The way it works is we are in a universal low. The only good thing about that is it is literally doing the U-turn toward the ascendancy as we exist. But that doesn't mean that we're not suffering the absolute worst of what's available to be endured. We are. And with those energetic limitations, I do think the human experience can only revive its humanity at the whole within the energetic cap that is available. So I don't mean to be this obtuse in returning to speak about what I know clearly, and what it's taken me months of investigation and self-evaluation, as well as observation, to finally have a theory as to why this is what we're all going through, and how to, at a minimum, find a way to bring fulfillment and a sense of purpose to your life. And know that this isn't done in a way that you target your own fulfillment. The way the world works is, well, at least the way this level of reality works, is that the most fulfilling experience you can have is to help fulfill lives of others to their maximum capacity. The strange part of this is you have to be willing then, as a player in this routine of energetic distribution, you've got to be willing to accept that help from others as well, because that's how the cycle works. And this doesn't make you weak or make you anything other than human, but at its maximum fulfilled level, you're not just assisting the universe with that which you were given gifts to assist the universe in your own unique individual manifestation in the human meat suit. You're receiving that same energy. Which means when you're in trouble or have questions about what the fuck it all means, you go seek help. Like this. And the voices of this universe that are trying to sincerely help you are few. And I can tick off maybe 5 that I've discovered in my pursuit of authenticity and the humanity of our experience at the highest level. But that's not a lot. And I don't mean to offer myself as some level of messianic figure here. That is not at all how this works. In fact, that is the opposite of how this works. The downside of not having somebody as a figurehead who can lead everybody out of the muck is that it's actually up to all of us to participate and do it collectively. You don't get to just have somebody tell you how to fucking do stuff and then go do it that way and it's fulfilling. That's not how it works. So what the process involves is coming to understand that in some level of true realization, everyone's a goddamn Messiah. Let's pause on this moment, because I know you don't believe me, but for the first time ever, I just want you to think of yourself as the person here to lead us out of the mess we're in. Can you believe in yourself that much? Pause. Unpause. So depending on how you do your breaks, you either took 5 seconds or maybe 5 quintillion seconds, or I don't even know what that would mean. So whatever time period you use to evaluate the question I left you with, could you believe in yourself enough to think of yourself as the Messiah here to lead humanity to the promised land? Or something like that. Close enough. And whatever. The answer is no. I know. I already know. Because not a single human meat sack wearing entity have I run into yet who can answer that question with a firm and solid yes. Except me. And that's why I finally understand that my purpose with these recordings is to realize all of the tripwires we've already set off in our clumsy descendancy to this point. Descent to this point has, well, it has led to the conclusion that at some level, all of us think we're not worthy. And I just won't accept that. That is not a reality in which I want to exist, because I realize how worthy each and every single one of us is. And this, I know, to the most self-loathing among you will trigger warnings of, wait a second, this is just communism and some sort of egalitarian Eden guise, and I'm not going to participate in the pseudo-cult leaders' thoughts of equality among all of us. Okay, great, because I don't think that way. And what I do think is that you are unique. What is composing that inner voice that is only you who can hear it, that's the unique you. That's the you that if you had the balls would distribute its full, flourished, peacock-loving self to the universe, because in that manifestation, you are giving all of the gifts that you truly brought here, you, just you, to then distribute among us, the collective, because you're that fucking awesome. And that isn't communism. At least not the parts that I read in college. So I may not know what communism is, but I'm going to let you call that whatever you want. I call it individual self-realization at the highest level. And that is why I'm really here. Pause. Unpause. All right, a little bit about my formatting and some clarity around my message being received in a capacity in which I intend to distribute it, which is simple, understandable, and once grasped, then grasped. In other words, I'm not trying to record something today that will force you to listen to 50 more recordings, because then maybe you'll realize who you really are as the specific and glorious being that you came here to be. No, you should be able to realize this rather quickly. Like probably 2 minutes ago, you were trying. But the irony of me saying this is that I know there are some among you who will take years to figure this out, whereas others will figure it out rather quickly. And I don't know why the individual challenges to realizing just how pure and wonderful your actual self is are uniquely yours, but they are. And you've earned them over multiple incarnations of trying to get this right. So how that all works, I don't even know. That's not worth knowing. But the accumulation of you is unique, and it always will be. So when it comes to how you can come to fully self-realized, it's kind of up to you to navigate a path that means self-realization for you. That is not what it means for me. The journey is similar. The outcomes are very similar, but the paths are unique for all of us. And I know this may sound like the ultimate trap in how to collect a group into some sort of mass hypnosis. But no, we will never work toward those ends. We work toward you knowing how to love yourself entirely. Even that shit about yourself that's not so great. Like, the way you might pause and have nothing to say while you should be hitting the pause button. Right? Pause. Pause. So yeah, I'm not good at this. I'm terrible at it, if you want to be frank. I'm recording on a Galaxy S8 that's lying on my comforter, while my cat is over there laying on the bed. Wait, he's lying on the bed? Shit, fuck, I don't even remember how to use those words. The simulation's gotten quirky, hasn't it? Like, things you used to know cold are now questionable. And things that you used to know about yourself that you could depend on, now maybe on shakier ground. The way what can we call it? The degeneration, the disintegration, the code is literally built to cause discombobulation in this turn of events from downside to upside. And so I think you just, for one, have to get used to feeling a level of discombobulation in the circumstances that exist. You have to be able to endure that and still maintain growth as a person and as the individual you're here to be, while those feelings of self-doubt, loathing, whatever it may be, plague you. And they will come at you at the worst of times. They will come at you at times when you're like, I don't understand how I could not be this confident when last time I had to tackle this, I nailed it. There can be all kinds of ways that you're going to find yourself underperforming and think it's your fault. And once in a while it is. But for the most part, it's not. Pause. Pause. All right. I'm being somewhat silly because I am about to engage in the silliness I call 21st century America. Okay? Now, I am a 21st century American, so unfortunately, engage in the silliness that is 21st century America I've done much of. And so have you. But one part of 20th century America that I still hold firmly to is that long form communication has immense value. But given that 21st century America likes to think in 6-second increments, well, that's a conundrum, right? And if you don't know what conundrum means, it means that's a quarrel between two concepts that leaves you with not a clear outcome as to which one wins. And in this circumstance, I concede 20 minutes. That's my target. I'm going to release recordings in 20-minute increments because that's about as much attention span as people have these days. And that's about as much time as any of you have, period, to dedicate to thinking about yourself in a way that leads to your own fulfillment. Which is terrible, but whatever. That's the world we live in. And so I can't just ramble on for an hour and 45 minutes and expect anyone to make it to the end. Because you won't. I can't even really record 20 minutes and expect but 10% of you to get there. Because the other 90% of you will be interrupted, have something else to do, find me boring, find me an asshole, find me whatever you want to find me that's disruptive, and off you go. So the echo chamber that we're used to, the one that tells us that what we think today is the thought we should have always had and will always have going forward, is not how I work. What I challenge you to think is that what you thought yesterday might have been wrong, because today you have new information. And so by evaluating that new information, you think, okay, well, what does that mean for what I think tomorrow? Well, you don't know yet, because you're still discovering who you are as a self-evaluating, thinking, critically thinking person. And if you're not willing to believe in your own capability to freely think great thoughts, well, then we're fucked. Because that means Google won. And we're all just going to end up thinking whatever that top AI blurb says. We'll all just become Gemini. That's where we're headed. And I can see it clearly. A lot of you can't. And so there's a conundrum, right? How do I walk you to the level of self-evaluation that gives you a crystal clear image that every time you Google something, you really are hurting your critical thinking parts? And it's not that I don't Google how do you cook rice and beans, because I do. I Google all sorts of shit to find something out that I need to know in the moment. But I do not Google how do I become a better person. I do not Google how do I find a fulfilling life. And unfortunately, some of you are at that point. Now, I know that's not a lot of you yet, but it's more and more of you. And if that's not the sign that, well, people who know better need to speak up and share what they know, I don't know what is. And so we're almost to 20 minutes here, which means I'm going to actually stop this on time. And in doing so, I do this to respect you. I respect your time commitments. I know they're large. I respect your energy commitments. I know they're onerous. And I respect your level of dissatisfaction with my menial production value. You can't sit here and listen to me drone on for more than 20 minutes and keep your sanity. At least I don't think you can. And I live with myself, so I'm pretty sure I'm right. But you can take little chunks of how to be a better person and work your way into the world with those. And if you're in a point where you just can't find a fulfilling turn anywhere in the universe, then stop what you're doing and immediately go find a situation that someone needs help and help them. And if that's too much to ask, then just remember the last time you let somebody down that you really wish you hadn't. And go find that person, sincerely apologize, and ask them if they need help with anything right now. Ask them if you can walk their dog or pull weeds in their garden. Ask the universe how you can help, and the universe will respond.